Hey, Lioness. I've got a question for you today. Have you ever felt forgotten after you helped someone else move forward? Like maybe you went out of your way to be there for them, and when they got their moment, poof, it's like you never existed. Today, I want to dig into a story we might know well, the story of Joseph. But we're not focusing on Joseph himself. We're focusing on someone who probably didn't think he was important to the story at all. We're looking at the butler. Yeah, the butler. The guy in prison who Joseph helped and who totally forgot him. And maybe there's a little bit of the butler in all of us. So here's a little background. Joseph, this young man with big dreams, is wrongfully thrown into prison. It looks like a dead end, but in that dark place, he meets two men, the baker and the butler, both also thrown into prison by Pharaoh. Now, the butler, he has a dream. And guess what? Joseph interprets the dream for him. He tells the butler that he'll be released and restored to his position in Pharaoh's palace. As Joseph's only request, when you get out, remember me. Mention me to Pharaoh so I can get out of here too. But what does the butler do? He forgets. He straight up forgets Joseph. 2 years go by, and Joseph is stuck in prison, waiting. Can you imagine the frustration, the feeling of being so close to freedom and then being forgotten? But I want us to look at this story not just from Joseph's side, but from the butler side and see what we can learn about opportunities, about purpose, and about God's time. Now, let's talk about that prison. That was not the butler's ideal place to be, just like it wasn't Joseph's. But sometimes our opportunities come in places we would never choose for ourselves. Sometimes those low places end up being where our next big break is hiding. Maybe right now you're feeling like you're stuck in a season that doesn't make sense. Maybe it's a job you're overqualified for, a place you feel trapped in, or a situation that feels like it's just one big setback. But that's exactly where the butler found Joseph, and Joseph found him. Joseph didn't think he'll meet his way out of prison through the butler. And the butler probably didn't expect a fellow prisoner to interpret his dream and change his life. It wasn't in a boardroom or on a stage, it was in prison. It makes me think about when Allen Iverson said, it's practice, it's prison. So here's a life check. Are you in a season of waiting or in frustration? Don't dismiss the people or small opportunities around you. It might be the very place where you're meant to find your next step. God can use anything and anyone to get you closer to your purpose, even the unexpected places. Now, let's get real. We've all had those forget me not moments, right? Times when we help someone and just ask for a little bit of consideration in return. But sometimes people forget. Sometimes we're the ones who forget. The butler got restored to his position just like Joseph predicted. But then he moved on, living his blessed life, enjoying his freedom, completely forgetting the one who helped him get there. How often do we do this too? Maybe there's someone in our past who helped us out, who saw something in us or gave us a little push, and now they're out of sight and out of mind. Here's another life check. Is there someone you need to remember today? Someone you need to thank, someone who helped you get to where you are. Or maybe you're in a season where you feel forgotten, like Joseph in prison. Take heart. Just because people forget doesn't mean God forgets. He knows exactly where you are, and He's got a plan, even when it seems like you're overlooked. Now, here's the big one: God's timing. Joseph sat in that prison for 2 more years, 2 long years after the butler got out. I don't know about you, but 2 years of waiting for someone to remember you, that could feel like a lifetime. But here's what's crazy: Joseph wasn't ready for the palace until exactly when the Pharaoh needed him. The butler forgot about him at first, but when Pharaoh had a dream no one could interpret, that's when the butler remembered Joseph. And that's when God was ready to move him out of the prison and into purpose. Here's another life check. You might be in a place where it feels like your dreams are delayed. Maybe you're wondering why it's taking so long. But God's timing isn't about making us wait for no reason. Sometimes He's setting things up that we can't see. He's working on the other side of that closed door, arranging things so that when it finally opens, it's for the right reason and at the right time. And here's the thing I want you to take away: your time will come. Joseph could have given up in prison, but he didn't. He held on even when it felt like everyone forgot about him. And in the end, when the time was right, God brought him out in a way that no one else could have. Just like Joseph, your season of breakthrough might come in a way you didn't expect, and it might happen in timing that's beyond what you had planned. But remember, if God's working on your behalf, that wait isn't wasted. There's purpose in it. So here's what I want to leave you with today. If you feel like you're in a season of waiting, or you're frustrated because you feel forgotten, just know you're not alone. Let Joseph's story remind us that God has a plan for us, even when it feels like we're left out, overlooked, or waiting for a break. I want to challenge you this week. Take some time to remember those who helped you get to where you are and thank them. And if you're the one waiting, hold on. Just because you haven't seen that breakthrough yet doesn't mean it's not coming. I want to thank you for hanging out with me today. And if this message encouraged you, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe and share it with someone who might need a reminder that they're not forgotten. And I'll see you next time. Bye.